Hello, gladiators, and welcome back to another episode of the life and suffering of Sir Brante. I've been really enjoying this game. Like I said, it's a choose your own adventure path. We were able to get two of the big events that happened in childhood. We were not able to get all four. I think that is by design. I don't think you'll be able to get everything, but I'm not sure. Let's go ahead and jump into Adolescence.
I was growing up fast. The school, the streets, and the whole wide world awaited me beyond the gate of my parents' house.
Once again, sexiest J.K. Simmons. You've lived in this world for 8 years now. As you grow older, life grows more complex. The world of your childhood was limited to your house and family, but now that realm is expanding. It also includes your neighborhood, the nearby houses, the streets of the ancient city of Amazon. A question now looms over you, growing more pressing with each passing year. What will your place be in this vast outside world? Few people in the blessed Arcanian Empire trouble themselves with this question. It's not within a man or woman's power to choose. Their destiny is predetermined by their birth and those who bore them. And yet, your peculiar birth has granted you a choice. Your father is a man of nobility, a worthy example in matters of duty and honor. Your mother is a commoner of lowly estate, humility and patience made flesh. And your sky is ablaze day and night with the light of the shining pillar, the beacon of the clergy. Your back bears the mark of the lash. Will you accept the drudgery and suffering that is the lot of the lowborn for your entire life? Or will you follow in the footsteps of your father and your father's father and fight for the right to serve the empire as a noble of the mantle? Perhaps you will follow the twin god's word and offer spiritual guidance to others. The answer lies out there in the vast, terrifying world. It awaits you beyond the walls of your home. Your world grows, the neighborhood, oh wait, nope, we already got that one. Events that can happen in the Brante family in this chapter: Gloria's secret, Stefan's disgrace, blood tide, Nathan's admonition. Alright. So we can either, it seems we can either stick it to Stefan, or we can help Nathan with his spirituality. We'll see what happens. That's sweet. Alright, I think we're going to focus on nobility here. We need to get some willpower up right now. Continue. The year's 1126 now. The family expects more and more of you as you grow up. The teachers and tutors hired by your father keep you on your toes at all the time. Your life these days is dedicated to studying for your future, for the future of the Brante family. Your younger brother Nathan keeps growing up too. He can hold a conversation now. You never refuse him when he comes to play, provided you have a bit of free time between your demanding lessons. It is a rainy day today. Father and mother have gone to a ball, and they left Nathan in your care. You lose track of time over the books in the sitting room, and Nathan goes off alone to splash in the creek. Soon you hear his voice begging you to come outside. He is on the porch, sobbing, all covered in dirt. You walk up to him as he continues to bawl. It's all that kid. He pushed me into the ditch and called me names. He said I was a fancy pants fool. I said I'll call my brother. He's still there. You have to go punish him, Roman. Nathan points at a lopsided wooden horse further down the street where the poorer artisans live. You see two boys lingering there on the porch. They are clearly both commoners, but far from poor. One of them is almost as tall as Nathan, and he frowns in a funny way, just like him. The other looks older, almost your age, but he is more broad-shouldered and taller. His name is Thomas. You've heard it before. There, Roman, that's him. Nathan points at the younger boy and hides behind your back. Thomas grins and rolls up his sleeves to reveal strong forearms. He must have been helping his father with manual labor for quite some time. Listen up, rich boys. We don't give a damn about you or your friendship. We don't let nobody call our home a stinking rat hole. Your little brother earned his ditch dive. Maybe next time he'll dress normal and stop picking fights with people who can throw him in the mud. Your hands clench into fists before you react. Nathan called them names first. No wonder they did the same. That's how it goes. But pushing your brother into a ditch is too much. Thomas stands tall and confident. He sees no threat in you. You are about to get ready for a fight when you feel a tug on your sleeve. You turn your head to see Nathan, the one who started the whole mess. This does give a bonus to willpower. Improves unity with the family. Gives us an extra point with Thomas Guerrero. We'll listen to Nathan first. Nathan keeps tugging on your sleeve harder and harder. Finally, you turn and look at him. Don't fight him, please. Look, he's huge. Let's go home. Who cares about them? You're all sweaty. Are you going to listen to your litter brother and walk away like a coward? All you rich boys are chickens. You do nothing but squawk, but when the push comes to shove, you run home to mommy. Now he's done it. Your patience has run out. You swing at Thomas and he jumps back, surprised by your assault. It takes a moment to compose himself, but now he is ready. His fists cover his face and he attacks you with a quick jab. Now it is your turn to take a step backward. You start trading blows, huffing and puffing with rage. The younger brothers gawk in awe at the sight. Thomas does not resort to fancy moves, dirty tricks, or stupid stunts. He displays nothing but skill earned in many a street fight, and his heavy fists aim for your head. You keep dodging him again and again, trying to reach him. He takes a couple of glancing blows, but easily shakes them off. What a bruiser. You start swinging your fists with greater and greater fury. There's quite a number of typos in this. Your heart is still pounding like a hammer. You see nothing but the foe in front of you. How much longer will this take? You're worn out, your breath grows ragged, and your muscles grow heavy. But there's no way you can give up now. Nathan is watching you. Desperate and out of options, you swing and punch Thomas square in his nose, then immediately let his fist smack you in the temple. The blow rings through your head like a bell and blinds you for a moment. The world swims before your eyes. You clutch at your head to get your bearings. Thomas is standing in front of you, blood dripping from his nose. You no longer want to fight it out, and it seems your opponent would rather end it too. But you keep standing there eyeing each other angrily. Then suddenly you hear an angry shout right next to you. An enraged man in a craftsman apron is shaking his fist. Thomas' face contorts in terror right away. It's my father. Run. The punishment for fighting is flogging, and the mere prospect of that makes you run like the wind. Thomas sprints in front of you. You dash across the rotten wooden planks of the back alley, up and over a lopsided fence, across a giant puddle in one leap, and then forward into the tall grass. You hide there and stay quiet. You hear no sounds of pursuit. You exchange glances with Thomas and start laughing. His laughter is loud and infectious, but soon he cuts it short and grows sadder. I'm gonna get flogged anyways. My dad's always quick to give me a beating. But then he'll start nagging me about the lots and the prayers for days like he always does. Why do I always get myself mixed up in this stuff? But fighting's the only way to prove you're worth anything, right? The adults didn't see you fighting, you tell them, so all you have to do now is convince them you weren't. Nosebleeds happen, right? Mother gets nosebleeds all the time. Well, you could try. Let's hope our little brothers don't tell on us. I'll talk to mine. There's a scratch on your head. Don't let them see it. Good thing I didn't hit you in the face. There, good as new. You assure him that Nathan will never tell, and in return you'll make sure he behaves himself so that he won't get tossed into a ditch again. With that, you shake hands with Thomas. His handshake is as strong as you would expect based on his fists. You make your way out of the tall grass. You need to leave before Thomas's father goes to your family and complains about you breaking your law. You come to realization on the way back. You had no idea the place where you were hiding even existed, and it wasn't too far from home. Thomas smiles in excitement when he hears this. Oh, I know lots of places like that. I'll tell you what, if we get out of this mess today, I'll show you the way to the old fortress wall. It's the perfect place to build your own fort. I dragged a bunch of wooden planks there. Too bad it's no fun to build all alone. My brother never helps, he just gets in the way. You emerge from the muddy back alleys, united by a secret only the two of you know. It seems you made a friend today. You have made a friend, a boy named Thomas. we do not have long to get our nobility up. It is blistering hot today, even for the sun-parched land of Magra. As soon as you are done with your studies, you dash outdoors and out of the stuffy room. You and Thomas roll up your shirt sleeves, but it barely helps. You would gladly go shirtless had you only been in the company of other boys, but there are 3 girls in the yard today. They are doing the laundry in a big wash tub, whispering and giggling. If you could, you would gladly keep watching one of them at work. She has big eyes of deep blue. Her dark hair is braided, and her plain gray dress is mended and patched all over. Her name is Sophia. She throws her head back a little when she laughs. The rays of the sun are reflected in her eyes. You, Thomas, and the other boys keep telling silly stories, anything to make her laugh. You sure love telling tale, Romans. Oh, I remember this one time. But then Sophia hears a voice calling her home. She nods to you and runs across the street smiling. Her light steps carry her forward, but her eyes are looking elsewhere. But then a stone on the road catches her foot. She stumbles and falls flat into the dust. The street starts shaking from the thundering of hooves. Riders appear on the road from around the corner. They bear a coat of arms you recognize right away. A sable serpent blade upon a field of vert. It symbolizes the Melanidas dynasty, the family of your province's archduke. The horses dash forward, a lost wooden toy on the road cracks under their hooves. They will not slow down. They are the nobles, and the rest must make way for them. Sophia is in their way, just now starting to get back on her feet. Oh, we can do this one. Man. Do we want to get our guy another death this soon? You freeze in terror. The riders surely see the girl. Are they going to stop, or are they going to trample her? In only a few moments, the beautiful girl will be toppled, trampled, and crushed. Man, this is actually an exceedingly hard choice. Suffer our second death, or let Sophia suffer her first. We're saving Sophia. You throw yourself blindly into the road, swinging your arms wildly. Dazed by the sound of the thundering hooves, you can see nothing in the dust. For a brief moment, the horses slow down, just long enough for Sophia to get back on her feet and flee to the roadside. But then the riders dig their spurs in. Dozens of hooves knock you off your feet and roll across your body. Your bones crack, break, and crumble. Your ears are ripped apart by the thundering rhythm of the ride. Your innards are pulverized. The last thing you remember is the sound of your own skull caving in. Impenetrable darkness surrounds you. You stand alone, bare to your very essence. It paralyzes you. You have an urge to cover yourself, to hide. No one should see you so vulnerable. But you cannot conceal the truth in this place. You are bathed in an unbearably bright light. It has no hint of warmth in it. It is blinding. It leaves no shadows in the entire world. It is the light of the shining pillar itself. In this radiance, you can clearly see all your thoughts and doubts, your errors and transgressions, the contradictions that have permeated you since birth. They cover you from head to toe like rough gray tatters. But they melt away in this light. You are naked. You feel liberated and whole. It is as though all the wounds and cracks in your soul have been healed, making it the way it should be. It is as though the scales have fallen from your eyes. You see the true shapes of things now. These are the laws by which the world abides, the grand design that moves life itself. You tread a path that is barely visible in the blinding light, giving shape to everything. In this light you see the infinite complexity of the world, from the tiniest leaf to the enormity of the empire. And this world maintains its balance by virtue of the law that was embedded in it during the act of creation. Ahead of you, 2 figures are waiting on the path. They are gigantic, many times taller than a man. The elder holds a lash, the younger a sword. The younger gazes at you sternly, coldly. You kneel obediently before him and lower your head. The god raises his sword above you. This is divine retribution. There is no law without it, nor can there be. Every action has its consequences. This is what shapes the world, making its very existence possible. In this moment, beneath the gaze of the merciless god, you comprehend the law that binds the entire world together. Which manifestation of the law in will you live by? I think we're gonna go with cause again. And that cause is to be a good man, an honorable man, and earn the title of nobility. The blade flashes. The younger sword lashes through the air above your head. You do not yet deserve your final punishment. The law demands that you continue your life. Your form has not been completely destroyed, nor has that of the world. The younger extends his gigantic hand and shows you the way. You must proceed. The path leads you to the top of the crown of the silver tree spread wide in the white gleam. The branches are close now. It is time to descend. You are drawn downward into darkness. The shadows that had disappeared in the blinding glow creep around you and envelop you. This is to be expected. But the purity and clarity of spirit are still with you. Something is forcing your throat open. Air. It scratches you on the side. Your soul is filled with struggle again, with the contradictions from which the fabric of this world and you yourself are woven. The divine light that gave you clarity is fading away with each passing moment. You have to open your eyes. Above you is the dark ceiling of the crypt. You are reborn. Then you can feel again. You sense your body, head, arms, and legs. The light fades around you, obedient before a will that is stronger than you. You return to the world. Such is the law of the twins. You will return to the world until the time of your true death, and in this world you will have a body with which to feel pain and suffering and pleasure. You smell a sickly, moist odor. You open your eyes and see the figures of mother and father in the gloom of the family crypt speaking to each other quietly. They stop as soon as they hear you gasp. Mother runs to you and locks you in an embrace as father wraps you in his cloak. Neither of them say a word as they lead you to the surface and back home. You've met a terrible end, my son. You're trampled by those horses. Don't be so careless ever again. The lives you were granted by the twin gods are not to be wasted so recklessly. You would be punished for this, but the twins have already meted out their punishment. You tremble. Your steps unsteady you as you learn how to move again. Your body is eerily smooth, fresh, and renewed. Even the recent scars and scratches are all gone. But there is something new on it. A fresh black mark, a reminder of the lesser death beneath those hooves. Remember that by the twins' mercy we are all given enough time in this world. Should you die before the time, you will be brought back by their grace. For 3 times they will rescue you from a terrible fate, but the 4th death is true and final for all. Every loss of a life we were granted at birth is a heavy blow to us, but the gods told us not to mourn a lesser death, so we will humbly accept this and move on. See, your body has been reborn anew, with all your wounds healed. Do not mourn your loss of life, my son, but thank the twin gods for their justice. Do not speak of this, and do not ever play by the road again if you wish to keep on living. You cautiously go back outside the next day. Children from the neighborhood surround you. They all saw you get trampled, and now they ask you the same question. What was it like to die? I've done it twice now. I'm speed running this whole life thing. Thomas rescues you from their pestering. He pushes the motley crew aside, hugs you, and pats you on the back. Look at you, buddy. You gave an entire life to keep a girl safe. Then you see Sophia. She's standing nearby, shyly working up the courage to walk over to you. Soon she finally approaches you and begins speaking rapidly. Roman, why did you throw yourself in front of those horses? My life isn't worth any more than yours, so why did you think that? You weren't supposed to die there. It was all those riders' fault. They deserve to die, not you. Her voice rises to a shriek, but suddenly stops and runs back home. You stay where you are, watching her run, the golden rays of the sun dancing in her braided hair. You saved the local girl named Sophia from lesser death. Sophia disappeared after a terrible incident with horses. Her friends gossiped that her parents sent her off to serve a rich noble dynasty. You haven't seen each other since that day, but you still remember Sophia's eyes, the sunlight shining in them, but no matter what, life goes on. You are 10 years old now. Your studies continue and you're learning more about the land you live in. Anazat is an ancient city in an imperial province by the name of Magra. All soil in Magra was turned to ash eons ago, scorched by magic during the rebellion of Duke Charim Melanidas. The magical arts are all but gone now, but the scorched earth has remained barren and infertile ever since. Since then, the entire province has lain barren, tormented by cold and scorching winds in equal measure, with few precious plants taking root on their own. All fertile land in Magra is bought elsewhere and brought here by an endless caravan of carts and carriages. To pay for food and soil, the cities of Magra became skilled in many trades, primarily mining and digging for metals and stone. Last fall, there was an explosion just outside the city, followed by clouds of thick smoke. The first such incident frightened the citizens, but then explosions and smoke became an everyday occurrence. Soon everyone grew used to it. Father explains that the miners are using a new invention called gunpowder. It makes it easier for them to reach the precious stones and metals buried deep within the earth. Then one day, a thunderous explosion rocks the city, and black, billowing smoke covers the houses. People are stuck in their homes, all windows tightly shut. There is impossible to breathe. Nathan coughs all the time. Gloria and you cough only when nobody is watching. If Mother hears it, she'll make you inhale those hot herbal vapors just like Nathan. It takes 2 days for the black smoke to disperse. People pour out into the streets to meet their friends. Thomas is eager to share everything he knows about this incident with you. They took lots of burnt up people to the city temple. Mom told me she was helping the healers. There are many rumors. Some claim it was the work of a beast stirred from its slumber, while others say it's the surviving witches that continue to threaten the Order and the Empire with their accursed powers. But as for you, you patiently wait for Father to come back home, and then you'll ask him about it. Father spends day and night working at the prefecture, while Mother spends all her time in prayer. It takes a full week for Father to finally come home, and he's almost completely spent. You muster enough courage during dinner to ask him what happened outside the city. Father raises his head, his face a bleak, weary mask, and starts muttering his proclamation. It's almost as if he doesn't see you. It's the mine outside the city. They were trying to get a vein of ore. There was an explosion. The mine caved in, and the black smoke started flowing. Many workers died there. It was all because Count El Velasco, who owns the mines, wanted them to start mining that vein before they were ready. Some of the workers weren't even reborn. Perhaps the twins thought their final time had come. The prefecture had inundated with complaints from families that have lost their breadwinners asking the judges for help. Many people also lost their cattle to the black smoke. Count El Velasco blames gunpowder for the disaster. The prefecture and the newspapers just repeat whatever he says. But it's plain old greed and tyranny of noblemen that are to blame. Why the welfare of our province is always paid with for commoner lives. Then without warning, he grows silent again. You keep thinking about it for days. Can a human life really end so easily? A single moment of bad luck and you die, only to reemerge from the temple or family crypt with a new black mark on your arm? Or worse, you remain where you fell. Dead. Never to be reborn again. Ever. Man, we've got a lot of different stats to keep track of now. Who the heck is Augustin L. Bourne? I don't know who that is yet. Map of the Empire. Man, grandfather went all the way from north to south. Dude should have just stayed where he was. Nobody wants him. Ooh. What is going on here? Oh, I'm excited. Can't wait to see what all these are about. During lunch, Father tells you to stay home in the evening and prepare to meet some important guests. Your elder brother Stefan will return home by dinner tonight. Joining him will be your grandfather Gregor Brante, as well as a noble friend of the family. You're excited about your brother's return. It has been years since you last saw him. How has he changed during his years away from home? You and Father await the guests anxiously. The doorbell rings. 3 people are standing outside. Grandfather is the first to come in, naturally. He has not changed a bit since his last visit, still eyeing the house with contempt, looking for any reason to demean it. Grandfather is followed by a stately young man, dressed in a black embroidered in silver, whom you barely recognize as your brother. Stefan casts a glance at your threadbare clothes, your dirty fingernails, and smirks. Why does Stefan look like he's got the Innsmouth look? He's got the fish lips, the wide eyes. I don't like him. He looks like an Innsmouth fish. The last to enter the house is a personable gentleman with a worn-out, wrinkled face. You have heard a lot about this man from father and grandfather. He is Baron Augustin Elborn, Stefan's uncle, a family friend, and the province's prefect, which means that he is the head judge and thus father superior. Sir Elborn smiles lightly and offers you his hand. Yes, and this must be your younger son Roman, yes? You have your father's eyes, young man. Father bows slightly to grandfather and Sir Elborn. But there is a moment of quiet when Stefan's turn comes. Father reaches out to him awkwardly, expecting an embrace. There is a question in Stefan's eyes as he looks at grandfather. The old man shakes his head almost imperceptibly. We noblemen oughtn't put our emotions in public display, father. Not even after a lengthy separation. There is no embrace. Instead, Stefan nods to father curtly. He responds in kind, his face devoid of emotion. After the greeting, you proceed to the sitting room. Elborn is the first to enter. He kisses mother's hand, and Gloria's too, and tussles Nathan's hair after he sees him hiding by the table. Grandfather acknowledges them with a glum nod. Greetings, Lydia Brante. I remember you were kind to me when I was but a child. And you must be Nathan. You could barely walk when I saw you last. Your elder brother ignores Gloria completely. Not even a greeting. You proceed to the dining room in a dignified manner and take your seats. The dishes smell delicious, but they merely punctuate the overwhelming tension at the table. Elborn is the only one with a friendly smile on his face. The dinner is splendid, Lydia. Did you choose the dishes yourself? You have a truly refined palate. It warms my heart to know Stefan spent his early years with you. Womanly care always does a child good, no matter the estate. Your fork freezes in the air halfway to your mouth. You expect many things from a noble of the sword, but words of praise of a low-born woman are not one of them. You cast a glance at grandfather. He looks like he is about to choke on those words. It would do my grandson more good to stay at boarding school among his equals. Please, Gregor, parenting is no less important. Nothing can replace a mother's love, I cannot deny it. It saddens me greatly that my late sister could not be there to raise Stefan, but there was still a family for him, and he was surrounded by love. How could that be bad? And besides, his father was by his side all the while. A father's example is always the best. After all, Robert earned the judge's rank the same way you did. Your grandson will surely follow in your footsteps, and who knows, perhaps even the younger men of the Brante family will contribute to the... You clumsy, low-born cretin! Everybody is startled by this sudden outburst. Grandfather's face turns red. He's glaring at a young lady servant holding a pitcher over a glass. Stefan is sitting right next to her, dabbing a napkin on a fresh stain on his jacket. Begone this instant! The lady servant runs away, leaving the pitcher on a small table by the door. After a quiet moment, Elborn smiles again. It appears the servants have left us, yet dinner is far from over. Worry not, uncle. There are enough commoners at this table to keep us served with food and drink. Stefan glares at Gloria across the table. She is sitting right next to you. She shrinks down and hunches over under his gaze. Father furrows his brows. Mother covers her mouth with trembling hands. Grandfather sneers. Stefan's gaze does not move. The silence lasts far too long. Then she starts to rise from her chair. If the Brante gentleman so wish it. Your hands clench into fists under the table. How can he bring himself to humiliate his own family, his own mother and sister like this? It is all grandfather's doing. Stefan could not even bring himself to embrace father without his permission. And yet they are noblemen, and they have the right to act this way. If there is any way this dinner can become even more unbearable, you do not want to see it. We gotta go the nobility route. Make small talk over dinner. Moving stiffly, Gloria takes the wine pitcher and starts refilling the glasses. You turn away from your sister, eager to distract yourself from her presence somehow. So you ask Sir Elborn how you may contribute to the family legacy. He turns to you, clearly relieved. Your eagerness to support the family betrays your noble bearing, young man. It is simple. Always remember that you are a Brante. Your family has a path of its own. You must follow in the footsteps of your father and grandfather and learn the judge's trade. You keep asking questions about the life and duty of a nobleman, trying not to look as Gloria continues serving the table. Sir Elborn is eager to explain. A nobleman must always live with honor in mind, but the imperial law stands higher. There are 3 lots and 3 estates. Naturally, they can never be equal, yet the law must govern those who live within each estate. You have a hard time understanding some of the things the prefect of Magra says, but his intellect is stunning. The dinner ends. Gloria takes away the last of the dirty dishes and disappears quietly from the dining room. Sir Elborn cordially bids you farewell. Grandfather and Stefan are still as haughty as ever, but they are clearly pleased. Pleased with what you wonder. The dinner, or Gloria's humiliation. Then you go to sleep. Your sister is sobbing in the next room, loud enough that you hear her. Hot dry wind sweeps through the city from the barren lands around it. The noble residents of Anazat prefer to remain in their chambers while the commoners huddle in tents or in the shade of the silver tree. You are on an errand right now. Your father wrote a letter to a noble acquaintance and you are to deliver it. Thomas, the boy down the street, is tagging along. The two of you are inseparable now. The errand is an easy one, so you decide to take this opportunity to loiter around the part of Anazat where the nobles live. So here you are, in the middle of the city square, resting on an ancient brickwork by the old fountain in the merciful shade of the gargantuan silver tree. Thomas is by your side, lazily slouching on the edge of the fountain's basin. It's a hard life for commoners like you and me. Either you break your back in a workshop day and night, hoping someone will buy your goods someday, or you become a manservant to some noble, and never get a chance to enjoy life. This is our lot, you remind him. We work and endure and suffer. But Thomas waves your words away. Yeah, I know all that already. Mother keeps drilling that stuff into me. We must be humble. Our strength is patience and persistence. So yeah, I say, but I want to make my fortune no matter what. So how ain't that living by my lot, I ask you. But the lots they ain't easy. Let's take you for example, Brante. Your father's a nobleman, but even if that didn't make you one, just look at your hands. You never had to work as hard as me, but we have the same lot, so we're supposed to suffer the same. Or look at your father. He's a judge. He toils at the prefecture day and night doing his judging, and he's a noble. I've never seen an Arcanian work as hard as he does. You shrug. The Arcanians are a different race. The books say they were born to rule over humans. They are never commoners, always nobles of the sword by birth. They founded the empire after subduing all the human kingdoms on the continent. Humans will never be their equals. Arcanians are always better, smarter, stronger, and their skin is a noble shade of blue. If their books are to be believed, of course. You've never seen one yourself. Your idle chatter is suddenly interrupted by a rugged-looking guardsman dressed in black and green. He chases you away from the fountain, common rabble like you have no place here. You hear the clattering of hooves and wheels against the cobblestones and see flags bearing a coat of arms, a sable serpent on a field of vert. It makes you squirm. It is the Archduke's coat of arms, the Melanidas dynasty. The carriage door opens, revealing a young lady in a luxurious dress. You cannot look away from her. Those dainty shoulders, suggested but not revealed by the cut of her dress, her black hair cascading over them, her stately, slim silhouette, her pouty lips and prim nose, and those eyes dark like the night sky. The way she moves, fluidly, gracefully, and most incredible of all, her skin glows in azure blue. She is a masterpiece given life. She's an Arcanian. Clear the way for me. The Melanidas guardsmen work quickly to clear the way to the fountain for the Arcanian lady. The searing sun dances on her skin in bizarre patterns. With one elegant motion, she reveals a handkerchief, then leaves over the basin and wipes her head and neck with its cool water. Well, I'll be. That's Octavia Melanidas, our Archduke's own daughter. The Arcanian turns away and proceeds gracefully back to her carriage. You see something slip out of her hand and fall into the cobblestones right next to you. Her handkerchief. It is right there by your feet. Intricate craftsman, expensive woven fabric, delicately decorated with emerald filigree. Your heart skips a beat. Will you dare draw the beautiful Arcanian's attention in order to return her lost possession, or would you rather not attempt to cross the chasm between you and her? I think we need to get willpower back more than anything right now, so keep it as a memento. You carefully observe Lady Octavia as she leaves. Her delicate figure moves through the square like a walking dream, her elegant hands gliding through the air, her hair flowing in the light breeze. Your eyes watch all of her. She returns to the carriage leaning on a guardsman's shoulder as she gracefully climbs back inside. The soft handkerchief feels warm in your hand. You fold it carefully and hide it in your pocket. The carriage drives away, marked by the thudding rhythm of hooves. Until that day, you associated the Melanidas dynasty with nothing but indifferent cruelty. But now your breast pocket holds the proof of yet another quality they possess: beauty. "12 years old now, you overhear an important conversation. It is a spring night, and Mother has just sent everyone to bed. You walk past Father's study and hear voices coming from beyond the door. Grandfather is yelling and Father is replying quietly. The elder Brante men are fighting, arguing about the place of the commoners in the city. You sneak outside to avoid Mother's attention and hide next to the open window of the study. Perhaps they'll mention you too. That low-life idiot had the gall to pay me a visit and beg me for some service. He had the insolence to ask me outright. He thought I was going to support his claim for the chairman's seat in the lesser quorum. How dare he? Father, please. Mayor Egmont may be lowborn, but he carries quite a lot of clout in Magra. He owns 5 iron mines. A friend like him could be quite useful. Should he become chairman of the lesser quorum? I don't give a damn who this Egmont is, Robert. What he is, however, is lowborn. His lot is humility and obedience. The likes of him can never rule anything. They're nothing but a flock of sheep that need a firm, noble hand to guide them. I wasted so many years trying to quash that quorum decree, but that accursed Cornelius Tempest did everything in his power to make the Emperor sign that pathetic screed, and now even lowlives can wield power. True power, Robert. Just the right to discuss the size of the Archduke's tax, nothing more. This is only the beginning. What's next? Are they going to arm the lowlifes now, make them into judges? If the Empire rejects the foundations and the lots, the entire edifice will crumble. But who am I telling this to? It is already crumbling, and you, my son and heir, are a harbinger of its destruction. Father, I'm begging you, I do not wish to marry a 3rd time. Lydia is a good wife, a dutiful mother to my children. If you would only allow her to, I will allow them nothing. Neither Egmont nor the freeloading wench of yours. What you will want me to do next? Live by the laws of the lowborn? I can already see where this is going, and I'd rather run my own sword through my gut than live in a country where nobles and lowlife share the same rights. My only dream is to see the name of Brante in the Blue Book, but that dream will never come true. They will never call me Venerable El Brante, and it's all because of this marriage of yours. My only hope now is to hear Stefan addressed in such a manner one day. Thank the twins I didn't let you ruin the boy. He's about to grow up a true nobleman. His children will bear the name of El Brante. You have 2 more grandsons. Those spineless milksops from the common lot, they're incapable of anything. The best your middle son could do is sneak into the Imperial College and get enrolled by the mantle. Although I do have grave doubts about even that. As for the downtrodden Nathan, I hold out no hope for him whatsoever. You hear your grandfather's heavy footsteps, the thudding of his cane, and the slamming of the door. It's time to sneak back home before you're discovered. Ooh. Power's increasing. I like it. You start studying at the school of Sir Tirbor and begin to master the sciences. Although, I think, in terms of the timeline, we're about halfway through. So I think this is where we're going to end today's episode. Thank you guys so much for joining me in the life and suffering of Sir Brante. I am having a great time reading out through this playthrough. It's been a while since I've got to do some of the voice acting. Like I've said, I love it so much. I hope you guys are enjoying it too. I'll see you guys next time when we play. Thank you so much for watching. Have a good night.